In the last episode, Hardmancanada, the boy with the fantastic mustache, started the review of the Super Nintendo Mini because of his mustache. But Link is mad at the world because for many years everyone on Earth called him Zelda. Link have a deep respect for his criminal friends like Dark Vader, Bigfoot and Remilia Scarlet because they are the only one who calls him Link. Link visited Bigfoot Yeti Sasquatch in prison to make a plan to take revenge on the world by starting with Hardmancanada. Link lured Hardmancanada in an isolated place to fight him. During the epic fight, Hardmancanada had no choice to transform into Golden Mustache to survive because Link was very strong. But Link predicted that and he transformed into Dark Link. Watch this episode to see the conclusion of this story arc.
I accept this challenge.
Zelda, you interrupt my Snes mini review. Zelda, you fight like someone who doesn't have a mustache. Zelda, you are impolite.
For the last time, my name is Link. You cannot win.
No! Your name is Zelda. You're really insane.
Hardmancanada, you will die here. You will regret calling me Zelda!
I don't understand how I lost. I was in a higher rank than you.
I won because my fighting skills is superior. After all, I've made many more gains than you did. It's comparable to people who practice karate, who are able to beat stronger opponents and bigger than them. Hardmancanada, you will die here.
Un rival, prépare-toi au combat.
What? Go?
Zelda, you stole my ice cream. Someone will die.
Bigfoot advised me to not fight Goku. I have no choice to run away for now.
Phew! For now, I'm saved. Now, now I will continue where we left before I was interrupted by Zelda. I was doing a short presentation of some games available on the Snes Mini. I'm very grateful that Goro came to save me. This is Contra 3. Contra 3 is an action game where you shoot at enemies. The game is known for its insane difficulty. The North American version is more difficult than the Japanese version because of the limited continues. This is Kirby Superstar. Kirby Superstar is a collection of many Kirby games, and the game is very fun. A lot of games are the adaptation of the Game Boy version of the Kirby games that was adapted for the Super Nintendo version. Now, this is Street Fighter 2 Turbo. This is a fighting game. Fighting game existed before Street Fighter 2, like Karate Champ for the arcade, but thanks to the success of Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter defined the standard of a traditional 2D fighting games like blocking, counter-attacking, zoning, wake-ups and reversal. In real life, martial artists who fight in competitions must train to master their techniques. Street Fighter 2 wanted to put that concept into the medium of video games by making players inputting specific command to execute combos and special attack. Just like fighters in real life, these commands need skills and practice to execute and master. For example, the command like a quarter circle and punch do reuse Hadouken. A command like a 180 degrees and punch do Dalsim's Yoga Flame, and a command like a 360 degrees and punch do Zangief's spinning pile driver. Most beginners in traditional 2D fighting games are not capable of doing a simple command like reuse Hadouken. This is Punch Out, a boxing game where you control a small boxer who is called Little Mac, who often fight against opponents bigger and stronger than him. But in my opinion, the hardest boss of the game is Hoi Kala, one of the secret boss. He is an old man who is as fast as a ninja, who kicks you and hits you with a stick in a boxing match. Yes, he kicks you in a boxing match. Normally he should be disqualified, but people are too scared of him to do that. Don't underestimate Hoi Kala. This is Castlevania 4, a platformer where you control Simon Belmont, a man who fights against monsters. This is the second to last final boss. His name is Death, and it is his job to cause the death of anyone who opposes the final boss. He is the bodyguard of the final boss, Dracula, and he is the hardest boss of the game. He is stronger than the final boss. Death is the real final boss of the game. Death, he is so difficult. The reason Death is difficult because Death throws fast projectiles at you that's almost impossible to evade because you control a slow character, and sometimes Death will use an invisible force field to attract you to him to mess your movements. He is my favorite boss of the series because he offers you a real challenge. Unless you fight against him, you can't understand how hard he is. I like to fight a boss who is impossible to beat like him. This is F-Zero. F-Zero is a game that used the Mode 7 of the Super Nintendo. To explain this in a simple way, the Mode 7 is a graphical technique to rotate and manipulate the background to make an illusion of 3D space. During the 16-bit era of video games, the Super Nintendo's Mode 7 was superior than its main competitor, the Sega Genesis, and it was a selling point during the console war of that era. Anyway, I love the music of F-Zero. This is Mega Man X. The story of Mega Man X takes place 100 years after the classic Mega Man games. Mega Man games on the Super Nintendo was a selling point of the console, and it's one of the reasons why the Super Nintendo is one of my favorite consoles of all time. Mega Man games are known for its difficulty, and it's one of the reasons why I love Mega Man games. In general, modern games are too easy, but the game of Mega Man 11 on the Nintendo Switch and PS4 retain the original difficulty of the old games, and I love it because of it. Kids today play games like Minecraft, Fortnite and Candy Crush. They don't know the definition of a hard game like Mega Man, Castlevania and Contra. This is my favorite game of the SNES Mini, Super Mario RPG. It's a role-playing game. In other words, it's a turn-based strategy game. Mario RPG was made in collaboration with Nintendo and Square Enix, the corporation responsible for making Final Fantasy games. And what I like about Mario RPG is that while doing special attacks, you must input a specific command to raise the power or effectiveness of your special attack, and the battles are more dynamic that way. My favorite character in this game is the yellow character called Malo. He does electric attack. On the internet, an authentic copy of Mario RPG is expensive. Look at the price of it. That's insane. Because of it, the game of Mario RPG, the SNES Mini is very valuable. You save a lot of money if you want to play Mario RPG in a legal way by using the SNES Mini. The SNES Mini cost me about $100. 100 Canadian dollars is a good deal for over 20 games. Just for Mario RPG alone, I recommend the SNES Mini to everyone. By the way, Mario is the mascot of Nintendo because he possesses a mustache. It's also important to know that the SNES Mini possesses the game of Earthbound. That will save you a lot of money. Look how expensive the game is on eBay. That's too much for a normal person. The SNES Mini's main method of control is a perfect replica of the Super Nintendo controller. It comes with two controllers to be able to play two-player games. I like it used the same type of connection than the Nintendo Wii. We can plug a Nintendo Wii's classic controller to play the SNES Mini. With the controller of the Nintendo Wii, instead of pressing the reset button on the SNES Mini to enter the main menu, you simply press the home button to enter the main menu, and this aspect is very practical. The emulator of the SNES Mini is a high quality emulator. I possess the physical version of some games, like the Japanese version of Contra 3, the American version of Castlevania 4, and Super Punch-Out, and Mario World in the special version of Mario All-Star. I compared the game between the original version and the SNES Mini version, and I didn't notice any issues. There was no sound problem, no graphical glitch, and no timing problem. When a game have no timing problem, I didn't need to adjust my reflex in games I was used to. A lot of retro gaming consoles I tried was bad. The quality was bad because it had issues in terms of sound, graphic, and timing. For example, the Legend Flashback from AT Games and the PlayStation Mini from Sony, you must evade them. those are bad quality. Nintendo made sure that SNES Mini was in a high quality. This is Star Fox. It's a 3D shooter game. Normally, the Super Nintendo is not capable of producing 3D graphics, but thanks to a processor called the Super FX chip that is present inside the cartridge, the Super Nintendo is capable of rendering 3D polygons thanks to the assistance of that chip that raises the calculation power of the Super Nintendo. The 3D of this game is very primitive. The polygons are so big that we can literally see each geometrical shape of each 3D object. Right now I'm fighting against the boss. If I beat this boss, I will unlock the game of Star Fox 2. Yes! Yes! I finally unlocked the game of Star Fox 2. I can finally play Star Fox 2 for the first time in my life. I will give you a small history of this game. In my opinion, this is the most interesting game of the SNES Mini. In 1995, the game of Star Fox 2 was in production and the game was 95% completed, but it was cancelled. The game was cancelled because Nintendo's main competitors, Sega and Sony, released their 32-bit game console with superior 3D graphic capabilities. Like the 3D of the Star Fox 2 was very primitive compared to the 3D game of the Sega Saturn and PlayStation 1, Nintendo was scared that it will receive a negative review because of it. In 1996, Nintendo started the production of Star Fox 64 to compensate for the cancellation of Star Fox 2. In 1997, Star Fox 64 was released for the Nintendo 64, Nintendo's newest console at the time, capable of superior 3D graphics like the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Saturn. Nintendo completed the game of Star Fox 2 in 1996, but for many years they hesitated to release the game. But they finally did it with the release of the SNES Mini, which is a good idea because it raised the value of the SNES Mini. In history of video games, a lot of games was cancelled and it broke the heart of many players. For example, Sonic Extreme on the Sega Saturn, Street of Rage 4 on the Sega Dreamcast, Metroid Prime 4 on the Nintendo Switch, Super Mario 64 2 on Nintendo 64, Shenmue 3 on Sega Dreamcast, and Mega Man Legend 3. It's very rare to have the chance and the privilege to play a cancelled game. For that, I applaud Nintendo for that. Personally, I love Star Fox 2 more than Star Fox 1. Now I will enjoy the game. I don't want anyone to interrupt me.
I'm back. I escaped from Goho with the Song of Soaring.
I don't have enough energy to transform anymore.
In your normal form, you are just a normal human. It's too easy. Now you die!
So brave.
Zelda! Stop what you are doing! I'm Sakura War, and I'm here to beat you for that private money because you have a bounty of $100,000. Do you understand, Zelda? My friend War Machine will come soon. Zelda.
Zelda, stop what you are doing. I am War Machine. I'm here to help my friend Sakura War. I'm a war machine that fights for peace. Zelda! I found you again, Zelda. You stole my ice cream, Zelda. Someone will die. Zelda!
How many more times must I tell you that my name is Link? You are all pissing me off.
I'm Dokolo, the guardian angel of Hardmancanada. Sakura War, Goro, War Machine, bring Hardmancanada to the hospital to treat his wounds. All three of you protect Hardmancanada. I'm sure Bigfoot is behind all of this once again. Everyone be careful. I will take care of Zelda.
Friends, let's listen to Dokolo. Don't worry. Dokolo was my classmate in the Guardian Angel training class. When he uses 100% of his power, he is in rank SS. One of the only person capable of beating Dokolo is Bigfoot, who can reach the rank SSS at 100% of his power, but Dokolo put him in prison. Trust him. Let's go, friends. If Hardmancanada dies, his YouTube channel will no longer exist, and all of his subscribers will be sad.
I can see the fear in your eyes.
Zelda! I am your opponent now! Zelda!
Dokoro is too strong. Bigfoot is one of the only persons who can fight Dokoro. It's a good thing that Bigfoot gave me a plan B. The plan of Sheep Man. Sheep Man, please help me.
They escaped! Where am I?
Hardmancanada, you are finally awake. You are in the hospital. Dokolo defeated Zelda to save you while I brought you to the hospital. The doctors treated your wounds. Now that you are safe, everyone is waiting for you to finish your review of the Super Nintendo Mini.
I'm very grateful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Zelda is very crazy. He gets mad for nothing when we call him by his name, Zelda. He have a serious problem. That's not all. Zelda is wanted by the police, and while he visited Bigfoot in prison, the police did nothing. I'm going to visit the warden of the prison. Lewis, not only you failed at your job, and how many times I must tell you, you are not allowed to shoot at prisoners without a good reason. It's against the law.
But I like shooting prisoners. They are criminals. No one cares about them.
Lewis, you are impossible. I wonder how does your friend Robocop handles you.
Hello, Hardmancanada. Me, War Machine, I protected your game machine until you come back. Continue your review.
Thank you, War Machine.
Hardmancanada, continue your good work. Bye bye.
The Snes Mini is a good console, but in my opinion, they could have put more games. Games like UN Squadron, Donkey Kong Country 2, Super Bomberman, Castlevania Dracula X, the Super Nintendo version of Ninja Warriors again, there is a remake on PS4, and the Super Nintendo version of Mega Man and Bass, my favorite classic Mega Man game. Ah yes, I must not forget Killer Instinct. It was a very popular fighting game on the Super Nintendo, and it should have been on the SNES Mini. The game of Killer Instinct gives you a lot of mysterious powers. One of them is amplifying your power, and because of it, a lot of bad guys was after the game to absorb it. Unfortunately, very few copies of Killer Instinct remain in the world, and Bigfoot Yeti Sasquatch is one of the only person who know how to use the secret power of Killer Instinct, and that makes him very dangerous. I know that Zelda needs the game of Killer Instinct to transform into Dark Zelda. How did he do it? I have a bad feeling about this. I give the SNES Mini the mark of 9 out of 10. In my opinion, The weakness of the console is that it only have 21 games and it's not a lot. But the Snes Mini possess qualities to compensate. The quality of the emulator is excellent. There are good games like Secret of Mana, Mega Man X, Mario RPG and Castlevania. The quality of the accessories like the Snes controller are very high and we can plug the classic Wii controller. Despite only having 21 games, the Snes Mini deserves a score of 9 out of 10 because of its quality. For people who never had the chance to own the Super Nintendo, the limited game collection is a summary of the history of the Super Nintendo. If you are watching me for the first time, subscribe to my channel. I love you all because of my mustache. See you next time.